को पता नहीं होगा. Abraham Lincoln was the Gandhi of America, basically. He was the man who abolished, slavery completely. And he belonged to a very normal, home. A farmer's, son who went as a soldier into the army, and he reached on the top as the President of America. And he himself was a dark, dusky man. He wasn't fair like all Americans. As you find, all Americans are quite fair. He wasn't like that. He was a tall, thin, not very good looking person, but he had his head held high and thoughts, those who could actually give life to a nation. When he actually was into the army, he saw that in South America, the condition of the slaves was worse. And that was the time, as soon as he got power in his hand, he decided that let's actually abolish slavery. And with Abraham Lincoln, when he abolished slavery, he announced it on the stage. Then suddenly, people started, getting, or guessing how this could be implemented. The whites started, saying this. Because it was impossible for whites to survive without the slaves. They were doing farming and they were the servants at their homes. So they were not in favor of that. They wanted to throw Abraham Lincoln out of the nation. So that was the moment, when he thought, if he would be actually being, thrown out of the nation, at least whatever he has said, let it come into writing. And he wrote the Constitution of America. So that from that day onwards, it wasn't even written in Europe, because Europe had half the royal families, those who were ruling, those countries, maybe France, England, Germany, Portugal, Spain. I think these were all ruled in a semi-democratic way. The power was lying in the hands of the royals, but they were making a puppet government, which used to be called as democratic government, and the democratic government would change the laws as and when the situation arise. There was nothing written over there. That's why even the voting rights were not given to the women. They were not even considered the equal human beings as the men of the nation were. They were actually being considered as the property of a man. No property was actually being given on the name of a woman. When such scenario was there, and a nation far away from the West, England, had come to India, and they were ruling us. They ruled us for more than 200 and above years. And that was the time when they were ruling this country. I think every 6 months they had new laws. Simon Commission, so many commissions they used to bring in India. What were those commissions? Those commissions were actually bringing up a new law and exploiting the people. As soon as people are awake, exploit them by putting some other new law. But there was no written law. So therefore, Indians couldn't go to the courts and they could fight for their rights. Now the India got its freedom. Gandhi was really worried with the partition, and it was a very gruesome kind of freedom we got, because so many people were murdered, killed, and it was literally, India had become a slaughterhouse, where on the name of the religion people were being killed. That was the moment, when we are gaining that freedom, the midnight of 1947, as we all know, Nehru speaking at the Lal Killa, and how he actually declared the freedom. And what was going outside that, Red Fort, what was going on? Lot of murder, riots, Hindu-Muslim riots, towards the East India as well as towards the West India. That was the time when half the people were in a mood, let's not waste time writing the Samvidhan. Let's keep whatever the English or the Britishers were doing for the 200 years. We'll keep that, but we'll keep things keeping in mind the Indian blood. But I think Gandhi had a vision. So Mahatma Gandhi said, no, let's have our own Samvidhan. So everyone started asking, India is so poor, people are so busy, it's all riots, chaos is there in the country. And who would you think, who would write that, this Samvidhan? How it's going to happen? And Gandhi had this in mind, the only one person, that was Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar. He said he knows India is also going through that stage where America was going in 1887. He writes in his autobiography, My Experiments with Truth, he writes, I don't wanted this nation would suffer as people in America are suffering with slavery, because slavery is equivalent to the Dalit culture which we have in India. So let's give people something in writing. So in case they are able to get their rights and their duties, they can have it through the Samvidhan book. If it's in writing, people could gain the strength to go to the courts and ask for their rights. If it's in writing, we can compel people to do their duties. And then a committee was being formed. 4 to 5 people were in that committee. And that committee actually started studying the Samvidhans of all other nations, especially Japan, England, America, France, and Russia. They were the communist countries, but still they went through all these, texts. For full 1 year, they were studying, making drafts, making notes, whatever is better for their country and what is not. With these notes, which people, from different arena they made, and if you could remember those people today, let's pay a humble tribute to all those people, those who were the voracious readers, those who read these drafts and make their notes. They were N. Gopal Swami Iyengar, Aladi Krishna Swami Iyer, Dr. K. M. Munshi, Sayyid Muhammad Sadullah, N. Madhav Rao, Tata T. Krishna Machari. So these were the 6 people who drafted this committee. And the drafts taken from these 6 people, they were then actually being presented into a booklet form by Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar. He had his final word because he was the one who had come from that Dalit culture, and he knew how Dalits would be, actually brought on a parallel platform to the other people, those who think they are into the better platforms. So he wanted to really remove that casteism which was prevalent at that time in the country. And the very interesting thing was, when the draft was ready, that was not the time of computers and all. There were no computers, there was no mobile, nothing. They used to have a handwritten kind of, hand operating kind of machine. What do we used to call that machine? Typewriter. Yes. So it was a very hand drifted kind of thing. It wasn't electrical equipment, anything, and it used to type very slowly, one page taking more than 1 or 2 hours. And you are going to have a huge booklet for more than 800 to 1000 pages. with so many different laws into that, जिसे आप अनुच्छेद और पैराग्राफ्स कहते हैं, 400 से भी above पैराग्राफ उसमें है. So they have to type it all, and very few people at that time they were actually acquainted with the typewriting. बहुत कम लोगों को आता था टाइपराइटिंग, और जिनको आता था उस समय में उनको बाबूस कहा जाता था. So all those babus actually went with English people to England because they were all educated and they were the PAs of English officers. So they went with them to England. They got hefty, salaries there, and they were settled in England. अब इंडिया में वो ना वो इंडियन रहा, वो ना अंग्रेज रहा, ऐसे बच्चों को वो चुरा लेते थे उन माओं से कि वो सफेद हो गया बच्चा, उनको लगे तो अंग्रेज का बच्चा है, तो उस बच्चे को उस माँ से अलग कर देंगे और उसको अपना दास बना लेंगे, सर्वेंट बना लेंगे. तो वाइट सर्वेंट मिल जाते थे उनको, लेकिन उस बच्चे को वो हक नहीं देते थे जो एक अंग्रेज के बच्चे को हक मिलता था. इनको कहते हैं स्टोलन चिल्ड्रन. इन स्टोलन चिल्ड्रन के लिए मेट्रन्स रखी जाती थी, मेट्रन्स, कॉमन मदर्स, जो स्टोलन चिल्ड्रन को खाना देंगे, मैनर सिखाएंगे और नौकर का काम करना सिखाएंगे, ओबीडिएंट बनाएंगे. इसलिए उन मेट्रन्स को कहा जाता था मैडम. तो अगर हम कहते हैं मैडम पंपी तो ये कितना गलत शब्द हो गया, मतलब आप सबके मेट्रन है. सोचो, ठीक है. अब ये वर्ड्स जो हमें अंग्रेजों ने दिए, ये सचमुच में बहुत खतरनाक है. बहुत सारे बच्चे आज भी एप्लीकेशन लिखते हैं. कैसे लिखते हैं? आई बेग टू स्टेट. अंग्रेजों ने पहली लाइन ही बाबूस को ये सिखाई, आई बेग टू स्टेट. मैं भीख मांगता हूँ, भीख मांग के कहता हूँ आपसे. अरे आप सीधा करो ना. इट इज टू ब्रिंग इन योर काइंड इंफॉर्मेशन, इट इज टू ब्रिंग इन टू योर काइंड नोटिस. सीधा लिखो. आई बेग टू स्टेट क्यों लिख रहे हो? देखो ये सारी छोटी छोटी बातें जो थी, उन्होंने हमारे कल्चर से हमें काट कर हमें कौन सी मानसिकता दे दी? स्लेव मेंटालिटी. और वही एक रीजन है आज भी हम डिसीजन नहीं ले पाते हैं. नेता भी चुनना है, हम डिसीजन नहीं ले पाते हैं. वोट देना है, हम डिसीजन नहीं ले पाते हैं. घर वाले जाएंगे, हम भी जाएंगे, नहीं जाएंगे, कोई नहीं जाएगा. नाउ वी आर फ्री, वी आर ए फ्री कंट्री. सब जागो, बातें मत लो और सोचो कि हम अगर वोट देने का अधिकार 18 साल की उम्र में मिला है, तो 18 साल की उम्र में हम क्या सरकार के बारे में सोच कि हमें किस तरह की सरकार चाहिए, किस तरह की गवर्नेंस हमें चाहिए. सो वोट फॉर द राइट पीपल. नेवर misuse your voting right. This is the biggest weapon you have in democracy. डेमोक्रेसी में सबसे बड़ा हथियार ही है वोट. जस्ट वन फिंगर. ये फिंगर बहुत जबरदस्त है. इस फिंगर से सरकारें गिर भी जाती हैं और सरकारें बन भी जाते हैं. इस फिंगर से ईमानदार ऊपर उठ सकता है, बेईमान नीचे गिर सकता है. और इस फिंगर से बेईमान भी ऊपर जा सकता है और ईमानदार नीचे गिर सकता है. सो दिस फिंगर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इलेक्टोरल क्लब का मतलब ये है कि मेक अवेयर यू एंड योर सराउंडिंग्स that you must vote for the right person, and if there is no right person, don't worry. Be the leader of your people. You come out, be a Kejriwal, be a leader, come out. खुद खड़े हो जाओ कि ठीक है मैं ही खड़ा हो जाता हूँ. There is no right leader over here. Don't worry about the thing. Government job is not everything. You can also do politics is also a wonderful thing if you are doing a social service. If you do a social service, I think that is the best platform. But again, people have to be more aware. What are their rights and what are their duties? Rights भी देखें, duties भी देखें, तभी इस डे को हमें सेलिब्रेट करने की पूरी की तरह से एक इम्पोर्टेंस भी है और हमें इसकी आज़ादी भी है कि हम इस डे को सेलिब्रेट करें. लेकिन इस डे को सेलिब्रेट करने के साथ ही हमें इस बात का ध्यान रखना होगा कि हम क्या वाकई ही अपने संविधान को यूज कर रहे हैं, अपने राइट्स और ड्यूटीज को यूज कर रहे हैं कि नहीं. थोड़ा सा संविधान दिवस पे कहना चाहूंगी और यही अपनी बात को खत्म भी करना चाहूंगी. हमारा हिंदुस्तान, इसके ऊपर कुछ लाइनें हैं. ताकतवर बहुत है यह गणतंत्र, बदल देता है यह राज्य तंत्र, कमजोर नहीं शक्तिशाली है यह, है सत्ता परिवर्तन का सहज यह मंत्र. संविधान देता है सबको हक जीने का, अवसर शासन हेतु 60 महीने का, जनता बिठाती है सर आंखों पर, लेकिन बदले में चाहती है शासन करीने का। गणतंत्र दिवस पर सभी को गर्व है, देश का यह सर्वोत्तम पर्व है, समान अधिकार देता है नागरिकों को, खुली हवा खुली आंखों का ये स्वर्ग है। तो स्वर्ग अगर बनाना है, यूज योर वोटिंग राइट्स, make people aware that vote for the right in a person. With this, I congratulate to all those who participated in this event, in this club, and I especially congratulate your coordinator who did a wonderful job. And we, due to the holiday, though we had already taken a pledge of the preamble, as you all know, it was taken on the day before the holiday. And today, actually, we had planned for this function. The first and foremost duty of any kind of, Samvidhan, what you say, the constituents of the day, is actually the equality. And this is what our Samvidhan that gives us here in India. And I think India is the only country where you find unity in diversity. And you all know the words written on the preamble, equality, then fraternity, all those, liberty. I think all those words, which are not only words, they might be words for the people across the globe, across the world, but they are actually being done here practically, especially when we say justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, and no doubt the secular, democratic, republic, nation which we have got here, India, Bharat. Now, what's our duty? Everyone has told us the date. That was 26th November, as you all had said, 1949, and it was implemented on 26th of January 1950. You have all told the dates, and everyone knows these dates. Now, how we can contribute to the Samvidhan, that is very important. How we can contribute, because see, those people, they, you would say in the 20th century, they really had worked very hard. They fought for the freedom, they took the freedom, they sacrificed their lives, they moved ahead, then they thought to get a new government for this nation. They planned a committee, and then that committee decided to let the Samvidhan of this nation should not, we wanted to see you in our college functions, that let teachers rest, because they have to teach you, they have come to, they are supposed to come to your classes, and you should provide these extracurricular activities with your own talent, your own planning, your own teamwork, and that is what was actually seen today in all the activities which you had presented here, whether it was a dance performance, the group song, even the quiz was so good. Half the questions even were not knowing to me, and thank you for those taking up those questions. That was a re-revision of our knowledge also. And all those who did the wonderful Nati laughed on that day very badly on me when I was a failure in Nati. So I admitted I'm a failure in Nati, but very soon you will find me with best of the Nati steps, because from today onwards I'm going to learn the dance here when I'm here at Ani. It's a promise to you all, and I'm going to present it before you someday with the perfect steps.